welcome into Sober in the States Basketball, A Road to Glory, episode 7 coming at you live. It's the holidays, it's the season that keeps on giving. So guess what? Sober, not only did they give us a bunch of cool cards, but hey, now we have special dailies coming back. And yes, we can win cash from daily competitions again. You love to see it. Give me the market credits, give me the essence, and now give me some cash. We're going to look into it. You know, Christmas Day is a big day for the NBA. So we're going to get into all that stuff and more. ZM Star. Yes, exactly. The Cup Finals. Also, the NBA Cup. The final is tonight. The Milwaukee Bucks taking on OKC. Honestly, not going to lie, I'm excited for this matchup. Giannis has been on a tear, and OKC is just freaking awesome. It's just great.
This is probably one of the better matchups we could be hoping for in this final. This might be a preview of things to come later in the season, so it's pretty awesome.
It might be. What a turnaround for the Bucks at the beginning of the season. They were like, what, 1-10? We were like, ooh, it's not working out. They can't play defense. And then they've just been on a tear ever since on the back of Giannis. And it's Dame time. I'm not going to lie. I put Dame in Prio this week. I was like, you know what? Big championship game, money on the line. This is the game for Dame to show up and have one of his games. And of course, Giannis is going to do it too, but I can't afford a Giannis. So we don't have one. But hey, we'll get there anyway. But dude, are you excited for the Cup? Are you going to watch it?
Definitely. Yeah, I'm going to be watching tonight. I mean, I'm excited. And of course, we all own a Giannis, right? I think he looks a little grayish in his background, but we all own a Giannis.
Yeah, there you go.
The old common Giannis.
Oh, trust me. And hey, this is going to be one of those days where we talked about the common strategy. Like some of those stars you want to keep. Now, a lot of those stars, they have some nice little XP on them too. And tonight is one of those nights where it's going to matter. I don't even know what the daily is. There a daily today? What is the daily? Just a normal.
The daily is just the cup. Yeah. Winner take all, 120 plus MVP standard. No cash, obviously. It's just regular stuff. But yeah.
No, but we'll get
2 games. Yeah.
So that XP is going to matter a lot if you want to win some essence, some market credits, all that stuff. But yeah, no, I kind of teased it earlier. Dude, they're doing some new competitions. They're doing some daily competitions. I got this stuff pulled up. We're going to do all this boring stuff and go through it. It's the holiday gameplay, starting with Holiday Hoops on December 19th. It is a full slate. This is where you can win cash if you're in the limited streets. First through 175th, you're going to win cash money, 510 to first. That's a huge deal. The only kicker, though, if you guys remember from the NBA Cup tournament games, right. Yeah, they were only 2 in-season cards. Now you're gonna need 4. Bob, you need 4 in-season cards playing these competitions. How does that make you feel?
Oh, I'm done. I can't play anymore.
That's it.
Bob, you've gotten younger since the last time I saw you somehow.
Right? What's going on?
You look young.
The Buffalo Bills lost, guys. So I said to my wife that I'm not going to shave until the Bills lose. And they lost, 2 weeks ago?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it was like 7-8 days ago, right? And I just got rid of the entire beard. And like I was starting to grow like handlebars and stuff like that. And my dog was like reaching up to paw my face, and her paw was getting stuck in my beard. And I was like, oh, this is not good. And like she had snacks for days that were just like building up in there. So it's gone. It's a rule that my wife and I have. I can grow the beard until the Bills lose, and I have to shave it, and then it stays. So if the Bills win the Super Bowl, she's screwed for the rest of the year. So
ZZ Top next time.
Year.
Yeah, next season will be ZZ Top.
I'm so old that I'm like starting to go gray. So like I'm getting like these like white flakes coming out. I'm just like, oh man, this is kind of fantastic. And she's like, you look so refined. I'm like, nah, I just look awesome. Like pretty soon I'm gonna like get a Harley and go through a midlife crisis, go out to like Sturgis, North Dakota for the big rally and everything. It's gonna be fantastic.
You thought you couldn't get it? You thought you couldn't get enough of Bob and his sweaters?
Yeah, don't get a Harley. Harley's for posers, dude.
I'm a poser. Look, come on. Like I am definitely a poser. Like, come on now. Like,
whoa.
This is what a midlife crisis is, guys.
Yeah. Dude,
wait, you know what's actually a midlife crisis?
The Harleys are for the dentists.
Oh, man. Seriously, I was talking to our buddy, that's usually on the show, Alex, the other day. And it's like, yeah, me and my pops, we go do this. And I was thinking to myself, holy shit, Alex's pop might be like younger than me. I was like, oh my God.
Dude, I often find myself being like, Alex is a child.
I forget sometimes. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
Yeah, like I usually shave. Dude, I've been gray for a long time. Even my hair, like, I mean, it's all falling out anyway. But yeah, I have a lot of gray going on in my life.
So yeah, I'm starting to get the salt and pepper a little bit, but by the time Christmas rolls around, this will be thick and good to go again. So this has only been a couple days, so we're already moving.
Well, I've been working on this for about 10 years, so
Attaboy.
I'll catch up eventually.
Any day now, man. Any day.
Any day now. Every morning I wake up, turn on that bathroom light, and I'm like, dang it. Tomorrow for sure. Just quick shout out to Sherry in here. How are the lads doing? We are doing fine. I hope you are having a fantastic day. But yeah, Bob, before you got in here, we were starting to hop into the new daily competitions that are coming in. Cash back in the daily games. Is this exciting for you? Are you, well, I mean, granted we're in season, but for those that are mildly in season, do you think this is enough to get them to buy a little bit more cards? Because going from 2 requirement to 4, that's a little bit of a jump.
Honestly, I've been busy all day, which is why I was late coming in here. So I had no idea that this was a thing. I haven't even read about this. So this is the first time I've heard it. So
Oh,
I
exciting
love
stuff.
it. I love it. And you know that I love stuff like this because the more in-season cards I can use, the more money I can win. Like I'm all for it in every way, shape, or form. So I'm content. I got to tell you, it's hard. Like the daily stuff, it's not easy to come in like top 50 in
Oh.
these things. Like it's really difficult.
Yeah.
So, I have to figure out like, will my strategy change? And like, will I focus more cards on these dailies? And like, will they start putting out what the dailies are going to be well in advance? Because now if I'm actually doing like, Bobby Fischer, like chess math here, like, am I focusing more on saving my cards for these kind of competitions? Like, what am I actually doing? And so I'm excited by this. Any opportunity to put more cash in the Sorare wallet through winning competitions and competing in competitions is great in my book. I mean, if it leads to more sales for them, great. Platform can be around longer.
Yeah, no, that's true. And kind of piggybacking on what he said, Zach, like going on prioritizing either these cash competitions or like the regular. What did we learn from the NBA Cup? Because we had to make that decision, especially on Tuesdays, where it's like you're setting lineups on Mondays and you got to decide who you're setting aside, and the cap's going to change and all this stuff. So, like from that experience going into this one, do you think it is worth kind of maybe prioritizing some of those guys, leaving them out for these things, or do you think it's like it's kind of too hard to win and maybe you should just kind of focus on pro or your strongest?
Well, I think the first thing, right, is one of them is the Christmas Day games,
Right.
right? So we have to see the slate, which we know the Knicks are playing, Boston's playing. So you have to have those guys, right? First and foremost, you got to have the guys that are playing that day to even enter this thing. For me, the cup, I didn't have the guys yet, so I always put my guys in the game weeks instead of prioing the dailies. But now I feel like as long as Phoenix is playing and they're healthy, I mean, dude, I'm like loaded up on Phoenix to go. So I would probably prio the daily for that week. Just it's one game week, whatever. And if I don't have great lineups, for my 3, all right, whatever. I just miss out on that. But as long as the slate lines up with what I own, I'm not going to go out and buy for it. I'll say that. I'm not going to go out and buy for it. But if I have it, I'm playing it.
Until you realize you're missing like one piece, and then you're like, dang,
One
Sorare
piece
wins
is different
again.
than needing 1 piece and 5 pieces are different.
Well, and Zach, you make a great point there. Like we've had practice with this with the cup. And what I found is that when I did the best in the cup and like I had a podium on one of the cup weeks, which was fantastic. But what I found was that still focusing on the champ plays was the way to go. And if you have a big enough gallery like I do, especially a big enough in-season gallery, because one day fixtures basically, like one day of games is completely different than, a stretched out, Wemby has 3 games here and Jokic has 2. Like there's different planning and ideas that go through here. Because if you guys remember, the first week that the tournament was won, I think like Diabate from Charlotte like came in and scored like 50 in his first game of the season, and Tyler Hero scored over 80. And that was the team that won. So like it wasn't like a Luka and Jokic kind of mix, which is what we typically see win a lot of the like long-term, like regular week competitions. So like I think that there's a higher probability of not needing studs to win some of these daily competitions, especially when the daily competitions are something like, turnovers count for 400, You can't play guys like LaMelo Ball anymore, right? You can't play guys like LeBron James. Like you can't play a lot of those different pieces. So I think that the constant changing is great. I'm curious to see what they do for the Christmas because on a day like today where there's only one game, it's just a normal like 120 cap with an MVP. And I'm guessing, Zach, that Christmas will be something like that. I think that the competitions will kind of have to be something like that simply because they want more people involved, right? But
Yeah.
you and I, like the three of us, know that we have bought cards for whatever reason because turnovers cost 5 and blocks were worth like 25. Like for those kind of things, you're like,
Yeah.
ooh, DeAndre Jordan might play and block 3 shots and score 75. So this opens up more buy opportunities for people, especially on the in-season side. I think that people are going to start to play more of the daily seriously, but I think that people are going to very quickly realize that you're going to the winners. I'd be willing to bet more often than not have 5 in-season cards in their pieces. I actually think that we're
To
going to see
juice
that
it. Yep.
because of the collection bonuses. Now, people that did the collection bonuses last year and have those teams, they're already pumped up with those cards. So some of those will be in there and it won't be much different, right, Jorge?
Yeah.
But I think there are a lot of people that are newer, like you and me, Zach, this year. We need to rely on those collection scores that come from the in-season pieces. So will it make me buy more in-season cards? I mean, I'm kind of a degenerate, and whenever I get cash in my wallet, I do it. And we all talk about it in our groups outside of the show. Who are you adding this week? And it's like this week
Never
I'm going to add
fails.
Drew Smith. I'm going to pay $3 for an in-season Drew Smith and see how he does, sort of thing like that. And that's not going to change for me. But I think that more people will probably play a little bit more. And if more money goes in to the game, that's great for us. Right. And I mean, it's fun. Winning cash is exciting. Spending your cash is just as exciting. And I mean, it's kind of what the game is, man. And I like the engagement. I like what they're doing with NBA right now. Where I think that the game has shifted and the introduction of in season has made the game a lot better.
Yeah. No, I do think too, because it almost like
So
forces
I
you
had
to
to look
stay
it up.
engaged. Like is the big thing. It forces you to stay engaged in the fact that sure you have your classics. Once you have a classic gallery, you're just kind of throwing it out there, right? But within season, you're constantly churning. We all win after our big studs at the beginning of the season, and now throughout the season, you're like, okay, who am I streaming in this week? Who got injured? Who just popped up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden the coach is in love with him and stuff like that. And that does keep you churning. And it's kind of great for them, especially if they're going to keep doing this stuff that double incentivizes you. It's I already needed a guy, but oh, now there's this competition and he just fits right in. So you're definitely going to hit that buy. You're not even going to think twice about it now.
But here's the difference in NBA versus, let's say, the football side of the game. When the season started, studs were a premium price. Now you could pick up guys that are 50, which I just picked up a guy that will tear open. I got him for about the same price as a middling 23 guy because those guys have so much value to be able to fit into a cap. Like in football, the stars stay the stars and they cost what they cost. The star price starts to come down in the NBA, and the middle to fringe bench guys creep up as the season goes on. And for anybody who's not played in season, this is my first year, understanding I was just saving money to buy a few more stars when I probably should have bought a few more middlers, and I'm gonna have to do that with my next few winnings, just to make sure. Because every week when I'm putting my lineup together, I'm like, I have 19 points left. I have a 12-pointer and a 24-pointer, but I need somebody closer. This sucks, and then I have to go shopping.
Yeah, no, and I've definitely noticed it too. Quick shout out to Red or Dead. What a guy. Not even an NBA guy, but chopping him for the like. It's that at the beginning, it was stud, get the cheat code, low cap guy, rookie, whatever, new role. And then now that those guys are gone, now it's okay, I have a bunch of studs, a bunch of 40s, 30s. I have no low 20s, like no nothing. Like you were saying, those middle
Yeah.
of the pack guys where it's like you can't properly build without like the super low cap guys. And then we went so hard on the studs that now we're stuck in the middle. Now we're like stuck in this weird spot where it's like,
Yeah.
oh dang it. So then you're forced to buy.
And you
every
pay like
time.
the premium price on them is reflected both in the auction, the instant buy, and the market, which the market at least is always a little more reasonable. Like people really try to sell their rewards fairly quickly, but like if you're looking for a collection bonus, like the auction and the instant buy is not where you're going to get it unless you're sitting on credits, which I am.
So, and going a little bit more on that too, those mid-tier cards, right? Those mid L10 cards between 20 and 30 that you need to find, Jorge. Do you find that you are more excited to win a guy like that? So, like me as an example, I won underdog twice and got Dyson Daniels, right? And like he's in that like 25 to 28 range. He fits in kind of like what we're talking about. And you as a fan would probably prefer to win somebody like LaMelo Ball or Damian Lillard. But you, as the so rare player, is the Dyson Daniels a more valuable card to you than those guys because you realize that jamming a 47 Damian Lillard into your lineup is really difficult. Jamming a 52 LaMelo Ball into your lineup means that he's either your MVP or else the rest of your team sucks because you have no cap space left, right? Like I'm looking for the more valuable wins on my side are those mid-tier guys, the guys at like 35 and less of an L10 that can hit 60. Those are the guys that I'm looking for. I love those Dyson Daniels. He was better in the beginning of the season. But like a guy like Paul George is when he's playing capable of hitting 60. A guy like Malik Monk yesterday, who's got what was like a 28 or something like that, hit around 60. So like these are the kind of cards that are more valuable in game, but as a fan, they're not who I want to win. I want to win Anthony Davis. I want to win Jokic, right? But those aren't like if you already have those cards, like what are you doing? Sort of stuff, right? And what I'm finding more and more is that I'm using cash to buy those mid-range guys that you're talking about, Jorge, to put in my lineups that allow me to play. You know, I am buying them like the Andrew Nembhards from the Pacers.
Yeah,
right? He's a really low cap guy, but he's back. He's playing, right? Low cap guy. But what he does is that he gives me a low cap guy that can hit 25 or 30 if he's playing well. And so if he's doubling his L10, that's great. But what he's also doing, he's adding to my collection score for when Halliburton actually plays basketball and scores 65 like he did last week. Or Miles Turner shows up and hits a 50 like he did last week. And so like all of these things sort of meld together. And those guys coming off of injury, those guys, like those mid-tier guys are so unbelievably valuable.
No, they really are. And like one that specifically comes to mind too from that. And like my thing where like you were asking, personally, I would rather win the studs. Because like if I'm gonna go out and spend $60 on a stud, like okay, that's cool. Obviously I needed it and it's cool. But like I'd rather win the stud and then use that $60 that I have in my account to like week by week just like stream in the guy that I need. So that I don't have to worry about blowing big chunks on one big purchase when I could like slowly just pick up the guys as I need him. And I think it's a little bit easier. And that at the same time, too, when you're doing that, you could almost find like the undervalued players in the market, people that aren't being seen by people. Like the perfect example right now, which I'm gutted, is Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey went through a rough run of form. His cap dropped to like the mid 20s, and then he popped off like 3 or 4 40s back to back in a row, and then sprained his ankle last night. But if you were watching that and you caught onto it, and Zach LaVine was out and stuff like that, it's like all of a sudden you notice that and you rode that all the way up. Now his cap's going to shoot up, and he's hurt anyways. So who cares? But like it's almost being able and having that money set aside for when you do see those inefficiencies in the market and then be able to hop on it and capitalize it before it's too late. So personally, I love winning the studs, but you're right. Almost winning those streamlined guys, like is better for your overall gallery, I would say, because too many top guys you just can't play.
Yeah. So here's something I'm going to ask Bob. So I know you brought up collection score for your middles and whatnot. So I've been approaching this method. So since I have a lot of in-season stud cards and guys that I really like, I've
Mhm.
actually been looking at the middles in the class. Like that's my classic play. When I
Mm.
first started, I bought studs that were classic, so I could
Mhm.
get rolling. Now I want like nothing to do with my like LeBron classic card and putting him in a lineup because I have a bunch of guys that take his spot in season. So
Mhm.
now I want to buy the 11 guy, the 15 guy, and pay like nothing for him. He doesn't really add to like collection score, and he's not really a resale card. Even though I don't believe in selling any cards, honestly, it's too much of a like. Alex is the I will sell once a guy goes from 25 to 30 because he's useless to him because he only plays contender.
Yep.
So he gets in and out of cards quite a bit. I got a job and a kid and a life. I don't have time for that.
Oh, you're not
To
a
be quite
college
honest.
student, bro.
I don't have time for all that. So when I buy a card, I buy a card. He's mine forever, no matter what happens. But I've been approaching the middling guy or the guy I need in the classic version and playing all in-season guys around him.
Okay.
It's cheaper that way too.
So,
Now,
well,
to be
it's
fair,
cheaper that way, but
you do get stuck with a Lindy Waters the third.
so
But
Zach, let me ask you this. So on that note, when you're scouting those guys, are you just looking for, because I know you use top tier projections as well. Shout out to
yeah,
building the team there. But like, are you looking for the best guy on the top tier projections for those middling guys that you're looking for? Or are you looking at the projections and saying, hey, this Ryan Dunn here is a cap of 11, and I know you have his in season card, but like if you don't, you're like, you know what? If I bought him, he would automatically come in at 10% because I've already maxed out that score. So, like, are you doing that math too? Like, so are you buying the in season mid tier guys, low tier guys, if you already have a collection? And are
yes.
you buying the classic if they're just a random guy from the Toronto Raptors that you're going to use in 1 week and you don't really care?
So yes, that is a strat. If it's a team that I have the pieces for, which I'm now up to, I think like really 2 to 3 teams, I will wait and either put my credits towards that guy and keep the in-season bonus
Mhm.
rolling. But if it's like a Lindy Waters or somebody from the Raptors who like will play and he'll be a rotational piece just for me to either make lineup number 2 or lineup number 3,
Mhm.
yeah, I'll look at the classic version of it because his percentage doesn't matter. And I'll take it a step further. I actually will look at the guy, and then depending because of top tier and what's going on and like what I'm looking at, based on how well I think the team will finish, actually determines if I'll even go classic versus in season. So like I do take it one step further if I want the 5%. If he's a guy I don't own another card from that team, or if my team doesn't project to like I think I have a shot at a top 20, top 10, I'll just take the classic version for his half
So
percent.
you're looking at long term how the team will finish. So what team?
Yeah.
So if you're using that approach, are you prioritizing guys that are going to go to the playoffs, teams that are going to go to the playoffs, or are you prioritizing the really crappy teams like the Nets and the Raptors because their scrub daddies are going to be playing at the end of the season, and when they are a
Shout out
8,
Utah.
they get out there and they throw down 60s like mad. I mean, the end of the season is just like playing the lottery. You are essentially
Yeah.
spinning and just
Yeah.
hoping. So, like,
So
which teams are you prioritizing? The really crappy ones or the ones that are going to make the playoffs?
so I don't look at the bottom of the barrel. Like the Nets have offer nothing on that team. I
Whoa,
don't
whoa,
think there's
whoa, whoa,
one
whoa, whoa,
player that I
whoa.
would ever want to own on that team at any point this season.
It's Dorian
Mm.
Finney-Smith
atrocious.
season.
They're atrocious. But
Dude,
like I'm actually
and
looking for the probably like the 12th to the 8th team in the East. And in the West, I'm probably looking a little bit deeper because I find the West to be a little bit more competitive and the
Mhm.
roster's a little bit better. So
Mhm.
like in the East, I don't want the bottom of the basement because like honestly, the last 2 playoff spots will be won by teams that have no business being in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
like the Raptors are a team that you could probably go after because they're going to be playing hard all season, and they have some real pieces. Like they have guys that score. They're not a particularly good team, but like RJ and Podol, and then I mean I'm assuming quickly will play like 20 games this year at the end of the
Scotty
season.
will be healthy at one point.
Yeah, you know.
Mhm.
But like RJ's actually been kind of tearing it up, and I wouldn't mind owning one. I don't like his price right now, but again, he's like a stud piece that I just don't need. He's a generic 46 that I look at and I see across my gallery right now as is. You know, it's like, okay, I could play him, or I could play Kyrie, or I could play, 7 other guys that I like better, but I still like watching RJ. So
So,
that's kind of how I look at it.
and I like how you're approaching it, because the way I'm looking at it with you guys, I mean, everyone here that listens and follows us like knows that like I'm putting together full collections, especially for the playoff teams and teams that are going to be good. So for me as a user, I'm going to be focusing more on like the terrible, terrible teams because of
Oh,
that
we're going
luck
dumpster
factor.
diving.
Yeah, like hardcore. I'm gonna have a full Nets collection by the time the season is over with, and I am going to hate myself for it. It's
Here's what
like
you're gonna hate.
how I used to do it in soccer and football, where this year I bought a Southampton collection and they are gutter frogs. Like they are just terrible. And I did the same thing with Luton last year, and it was stupid. But at least in basketball, these guys have to play, and they're professional athletes, right? They're professional NBA players. And we saw it last year. Like there were like the scores, and Jorge, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the scores got increasingly higher and higher and higher that won the competitions because those 8 caps were scoring 50s. Those 15 caps were scoring 70s. And you're just like, what in the world is happening? And when you play harder in basketball, like, and you have something to play for, it means you're playing a little bit more defense, right? Like, when you're playing against the Celtics, like, you're probably not going to score that much. Like, they're a team that I'm avoiding. But when the Nets are playing the Raptors at the end of the season, like they're playing them tomorrow or
Oh,
something like
gross.
that, I'm
The
expecting
shootout.
140 to like 139 games, 4,000 missed shots, but people scoring a lot of points on low caps. And like, all right, that's why I went with a full Raptors and Nets underdog team this week, because they were playing each other in the last game of the week, and I expect fireworks. So like that's why I'm asking that question, Zach. Like I've built up, because in my eyes, to win in season competitions and cash each week, you need the best players on the best teams. And those are, the Luka Doncic's, the SGAs, like those types of players.
Yeah.
These are for sure playoff teams, like great teams. But to win throughout the whole season and to play underdog, which you guys know I love to do, you
Yeah,
need
you
some
do.
bad players. Or you need to take advantage of when Luca and Kyrie and like the top end players of the teams go down. And then the horrible players, not horrible players, they're professional athletes, but like the Spencer Dinwiddies of the world and like the Quentin Grimes of the world go off and score 55. Like that's how you kind of like figure out underdog. And this is why, after watching the first 2 years of NBA, knowing the teams actively tank and like purposefully suck, I'm really going dumpster diving at the end of the season. And the question becomes, Jorge, should I start doing it now?
So can I go against that? Don't do it
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. I'd
Here's
love
why
to.
I'll say that. If you get sucked into the Nets, let's say, right now, and you're picking up their best of the worst that they have,
Mhm.
you have to ask yourself, are they sellers at the deadline? Because the NBA deadline is one of the best times of the year, and ultimately they want picks back. The Nets are so bad, they want picks. So they'll give up anything that they have. Like if it's Finney's
He's
that
probably
they're
gone.
going to move off of. He gets moved to another team, a contender, and
Mhm.
now his numbers don't look as good because he's not basically balling out on a terrible team. He actually has to play basketball with other
Yeah.
people.
I mean,
So I don't like buying the bottom basement today. I'll
mhm.
like it at the deadline a little bit more when like the pieces have fallen.
Yeah, that makes
And so
sense.
I'd probably hold off.
The solace I take in doing it now, or thinking about doing it now, Zach, is that if I bought the entire Nets team collection, it would probably cost me $22. Like, they are so bad. They're so
Yeah, okay. All right.
unbelievably bad. Like,
You've convinced me. All of my arguing of it's over. You've convinced me.
no,
What
but
are you gonna
you know what I mean, though? Like, there's a benefits
do?
to a
Yeah.
lot of these things, too, because these teams do sell their players, but they typically sell, the Bulls selling like the Josh Giddeys of the world to someone that needs him, sort of thing. I don't even know if the Bills are good this year, but like those bottom tier teams, the Utah Jazz selling Lowry Markkanen if his contract works out.
It's never
you know?
gonna happen.
Right. Like, do you sell John Collins? Do you sell Sexton? Do you sell these guys, Clarkson? Like these guys that have careers that go in there. I mean, the guy like Jordan Clarkson shows up on the Warriors and he becomes like the better version of Buddy Hield. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
like there are specific guys, and you can probably start looking through NBA trade rumors and all that stuff. But for some of the really bad teams, I'm looking at some of them because, like I said, it's partly because I am an underdog degenerate, and that's where you get a lot of really crappy guys that get more run from the worst teams. So I'm kind of looking in that range too, So it's kind of a mix. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going out after this week and building an entire Nets collection. It's stupid.
You can run him an underdog every week, man.
But in 2 weeks, though.
But it's and the question becomes like, and I have to do some more research, Jorge, to look back on when do teams actually give up.
It kind of depends on who's up. And right now, Cooper Flag, it's capture the flag season. Last year, whatever, the draft class wasn't all that great. Nobody was that hyped. But this year, there's a lot of talk about Cooper Flag, and there's a lot of serious talk about like, oh, we're gonna see another tanking year. I think you're both right, and like, it's good to start thinking about it now, but you might get stuck in some bad decisions where it's like, oh, they just went to a good team where they're going to rot on the bench and then not play at all, not play garbage time because they don't need him. He's like a supplemental piece. But at the same time, like even with the Nets, yes, they're going to sell some pieces. Yes, there's already talks about some guys moving on. But you got to think in those collections itself, regardless of where they go, you're still getting that 5% from that collection. And two, a lot of the younger guys, you got to start looking like deep, not even like second rotation. Like you're talking deep bench third guys, the young guys, the future of what they think it is. Those they're going to be there, and those are going to be the ones that are getting the garbage time. But like, yeah, you think about Dorian Finney-Smith. You think about like Keldon Johnson or whatever, and then also he just killed Nick Claxton too. Like all these guys, they've been there for a long time. They're the ones that are up for trade. And they're not going to be playing the garbage time minutes anyway. It's those really like bottom of the barrel guys that are going to be stick around for a couple years. That those you can kind of start thinking, especially if they're like $1 or $2 right now. Like, I mean, why not?
And and it's guys that I'm thinking about that could get a move. Like I don't know like where Toronto's going to finish, but if Toronto falls out of the playoffs, right? I think a guy like Grady Dick would be an amazing guy for a team to pick up. Like he just inserts straight in. Like he is a much like. Could you imagine Grady Dick getting traded to the Mavericks and actually playing where Klay Thompson plays? Like you actually have someone that fits in there. He doesn't play as much defense as Klay Thompson, but Klay Thompson is getting old and slow. Like there are opportunities.
Thompson isn't really working out for them. That's an unfortunate signing for them. I mean, he just hasn't really worked out what they probably wished he would be.
He was washed last year too.
Yeah,
they knew.
I mean, they knew, but like Cuban will pay because Cuban's a pretty good guy about like paying dudes.
He's sold.
He doesn't care.
He sold like a majority stake. I think he owns like a minor. Real quick, I do want to shout out Andy Black for being in the chat, Thomas for being in the chat, and Mike Baston, who is asking about your restructuring of your trophy cabinet over there.
Yeah, so before the show we were talking. So I come to find out last week that the smoke detectors in this house, which was built in 2006, were the originals. I didn't really know that. We just bought the house a couple of years ago. So it got triggered due to a humidifier, but they weren't making any noise. It was like a really low humming noise. So I just bought new smoke detectors and been putting them in the house. So that's what the ladder's for.
Dude, Zach, my smoke detectors are going nuts. I put a humidifier in my other room. Smoke detector went off. And then the freaking drone showed up in New York and New Jersey, and my smoke detectors are just going off. And we're like,
it's the radiation.
Dude, but they're just like going off. And like the panes of my fireplace are falling out and crashing at 4:00 in the morning. Like the whole world is coming down around me. My wife is freaking out. My dog's freaking out. And like my dog is the most pissed off dog in the world when she's woken up at 4:00 in the morning. So what is going on? Smoke detectors. Yeah. I understand their importance, but man, when a smoke detector goes off in the middle of the night, you're like, is it carbon monoxide or is it fire? And you're like frantically like searching on YouTube for how many beeps is a carbon monoxide, because that's the one I care about.
Yeah, but not only that, the worst is that when ultimately you figure out that it's a false alarm at 4 in the morning or 3 in the morning, and you're just pissed because everybody's awake now,
Well,
and it's
and
just
here,
like
4 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah,
here I am. Here I am. I'm like, well, I don't see or smell fire, but I'm gonna go like this and
yeah,
push all the doors and the walls because maybe there's a fire inside my wall. Like, oh, son.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, you just imagine it.
homeowner stuff. That's
Good
what
times.
it
Check your
is.
fire alarms, folks. This has been your
Yeah.
fireside
Those
You
minute.
really
days.
should. You really should test it. To be fair, you really should test those things every once in a while. Like these things are basically 15 years old.
I know y'all trying to win some cash and all, but we really got to talk about these smoke alarms, okay? 'Cause your life
This
is
is a
on the
little,
line,
this is a
ladies and
little
gentlemen.
PSA we're throwing. We do PSAs every once in a while.
Hey, it's important,
Yo,
guys.
yo, who would we be without Mike Bass? And if you pass out before the Google search comes up, it's carbon monoxide. The more you know. The more you know.
Hats.
What
Oh
would we
man,
do
like,
without you?
and Mike, I live in New York and it's cold here. It's like 25 degrees. So like there's me, it goes off. I don't know what the alarm is. So I'm opening my doors. I have like fans, like blowing air out. Like it's like 13 degrees in my house. Everyone's pissed. Yeah, I didn't pass out, but I was like, honey, I'm gonna stick my head out the window. If you die, just let me know. She's like, you're such a dick. I'm like, yo, facts.
Oh man. So also, okay, I also wanted to pull, since we were talking Christmas Day, the slate on Christmas Day is choice,
Yes.
guys. It's gonna be
Is
I
it?
haven't pulled up. Oh
Is it
man,
gonna be
look at it.
sweaty?
Ooh, what do we
Look
got
at it.
here?
Spurs
Z-
Knicks, Mavs and Wolves, Lakers Warriors, Celtics Sixers, and Suns and Nuggets.
I'm gonna
This
be on my
thing is
couch all day.
star-studded. Yeah, we got a star-studded Christmas Day uh
So
cash opportunity.
where are we going? Like
Actually,
like Jorge, where are you seeing the biggest potential there? So like if you're looking at that right there, I don't know. I haven't been following the Timberwolves, but like I don't know if teams score a lot against them. Like is it a Luca is your like prime MVP you're kind of playing when you look at that slate? Like are the Suns good defensively? Is it Jokic? Like Wemby, I tend to stay away from Wemby playing against the Knicks because I think Karl Anthony
the,
Towns, if he's
the Knicks
healthy,
defense is great right now.
yeah, can body him
Um,
up. Like this is kind of like this. I asked this question now for Christmas slate because it's going to come back to what's going on tonight in the Emirates Cup, where I don't like playing anybody against the Oklahoma City Thunder
no,
because of their
you avoid that
defense.
like the plague.
Yeah, yeah. So who are you looking at there in that slate? Like, who has the best matchup there? If you're
Uh
projecting towards like who's the worst defensive team and like the guy that we're really looking for, the
the
team,
Lakers are the worst. Lakers are the worst defensive team probably.
Yeah, but
and who are
Golden
they playing?
State's not all that either.
Who are the
I mean,
Lakers playing there?
They play Golden State.
Well,
I'll tell you right.
Golden
I'll tell you
State.
right now. Jokic against Phoenix is probably the 1-2. Nurkic ain't gonna do nothing.
Yeah,
Like
Nurkic
he ain't gonna
can't
do nothing
play.
against Jokic. Boston play Philly in Boston on Christmas Day. They're gonna be out there chucking shots, and Philly is just a dumpster fire, or they're just dropping like flies. San Antonio Knicks. That's gross.
So what you're saying here, Jorge, is you play Jokic against the Suns with Porzingis, and if he stays around 30, then you have a lot of extra points to kind of push in there. And you
Yes,
hope Pritchard kind of slows down and gets his cap back around 25 by the time Christmas rolls
that would
around.
be
But
nice.
it's only a week away, so I guess you probably can't do that.
I'd say
Uh,
just looking at this, you want probably someone from the definitely Jokic. Maybe you could sneak in like a Derek White. Maybe because Derek White's been solid and his cap it's like stays in that like low 30s and he can kind of bang for like 40 something.
he's at 37
Oh,
now,
no,
though, man.
it's-
Like that's a
Oh, is he
little
37 now?
yeah.
Ugh.
Because I bought
Mm.
one to complete the collection and it just didn't do it. So like when I look at that, like because what I see when I look at the Mavericks, I ask myself, can Klay Thompson make 7 threes in that game?
No.
Like, will he get that opportunity? Like, that's really the question. And like, because
Well, here's
Kyrie's not
here's a
blowing
fun
up.
little piece. They're going home and home, back to back.
Okay.
Nuggets and Suns are going home and home.
Okay.
For those
Which game's
games.
first? This one?
Uh,
Christmas Day.
no, this is Monday before Christmas, so
Oh.
this will be the first game, and then they get a day off. But they're going to see each other 2 days in a row, which is interesting. Getting to see
Those-
the same team.
Yeah, those
What is-
matchups are a little weird because then they figure stuff out and then they change things, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
it's like, whoop, the script flips, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
I
Also,
do
then
gotta say
look
though,
at this. Just you were saying you don't want to play.
you don't want to play what?
You don't want to play anybody against the Thunder tonight. Look at Giannis in his cup games, though. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, Giannis
but
has been on a heater.
yeah,
like in
Giannis.
the cup. In the cup, he's about the only guy you want to play. Look at
Yeah,
those
but
field goal percentages.
in the daily today, though, like I'm not playing Giannis. Like I expect 8 turnovers from Giannis today because he's sloppy with the ball. Like that's what they do. Like
They're gonna
I know
pack the paint.
Giannis has been great in the cup, but he hasn't played a great defense. Like Hawks are good, right? But they don't have the guys to handle that. And like I understand that the Thunder, like Hartenstein is going to be big and he's going to be able to put a body on him. But it's the Lou Dorts of the world and Isaiah Joes of the world that sneak in and slap the ball away, and SGAs who play a lot bigger than they actually are, that create a lot of problems with that swarming defense. And so I'm curious, man. Like I'm really excited about this game as a Bucks fan.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it, but I think the Thunder are just the most fun team to watch in basketball right now.
Oh, 100%. It will be interesting to see what they do with Giannis because you got to think it's probably Hartenstein and J Dub probably doubling up on Giannis and then hoping that Dort probably on Dame and just hoping for the best, and the SGA just kind of helping out wherever. It's gonna be like if they can contain Giannis, like that'll be the biggest thing, and then just like let everybody else beat him, which would assume that Dame gets hot. And yeah, that's
Well,
it.
they will need Dame and they will need Brook Lopez to get hot. Like, and you
That
need a guy
too.
like Jay Green to hit threes to cover on there because Andre Jackson doesn't do anything, right? Like, and you have nothing out of your wing player that's a starter. So like, you need Gary
Taurean
Trent,
Prince. Ugh.
Torian Prince. Like these guys aren't capable of doing the things that you need, and so it comes down to like defensively. Like I fully expect SGA to go off for 35 again today and probably 4 steals. Like that would be my prediction for tonight because Damian Lillard's not playing defense. I can guarantee you
They also
that.
don't defend guards.
Yeah. And
The
Torian
guards
Prince
eat
is
them up.
quick. Yeah. And so like there's a lot going on. And basically all of Oklahoma City, other than Hartenstein, is a guard. Right? They all
They're
play
small,
out.
yeah. Without
Jalen
Chet, they're
Williams,
Yeah.
small.
Without
Jalen
Chet, they
Williams
play
is
very
okay
small.
playing 30 feet away from the hoop. And Jalen Williams, like I don't think people give him enough credit. His scores haven't been high, but you watch him play, and he's just like a quiet, silky player that has like those mid-level socks, and he just like ball never touches the rim when he plays, man. It's the team is so much fun. And I gotta say, I was actually saying this to our buddy Alex the other day. I've been to a number of NBA games, but going to an NBA game in Oklahoma City is absolutely phenomenal.
Oh,
It
I've heard
is
it's
just I
electric.
don't know what it is, but I went back when Giannis was young and I saw the Bucks play against the Thunder and Russell
The Billy
Westbrook.
Donovan days?
Oh yeah, dude. Russell
Oh,
Westbrook hit a
yeah.
half-court shot and like everyone was going nuts. And just if anyone's in Oklahoma City, which probably like no one in here will be, I guess probably Black is the closest to it. But you ever have a chance to go to a Thunder game? It's a great time, man. Oklahoma City, fun town. So
Actually, that's the Thunder are here in Orlando on Thursday. I should probably go, huh?
they're fun, man. I tell you what, SGA is incredible. Like what a trade they made with the Clippers back in the
Talk
day.
about sleeping on
Yeah.
that one, huh?
Ooh,
Yeah,
wow.
the Clippers have always been a attempt. They've always lived in the shadow and they've always made bad decisions. And even Bomber can't stop that from happening.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, it's OKC's only pro team, right?
yep.
Other than
Yeah.
college
I mean,
football, probably.
bad franchises continue to make bad decisions. It's what we see, and it typically comes from the owners. Like just
Yeah.
look at Jorge's Chicago Bears. Like they can't
Oh.
do anything right no matter what they do. And Caleb Williams is a good quarterback, but the team sucks. And you know what?
Justice for Fields.
No matter how many times you change the coach,
Or
you
the
change the
quarterback.
offensive defensive coordinators and quarterback, you still have the same owner that wants to do the same things over and over again because they're stubborn and they got rich being stubborn pricks. So, hey, what are you going to do? Bad franchises are bad. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
So real quick, if we just want to look at the bottom, also if we want, I'm looking at the dumpster teams right now of the league. We didn't bring up the Pelicans. Yeah, the Pelicans are a dumpster fire. I don't really know if I want I mean, okay, I do own a piece of them in what's his name, but not Zion.
Is that Trey Murphy or
Yeah,
Brandon
Trey
Ingram?
Murphy. I
Yeah.
own Ingram and I have Trey Murphy, and I like them. I like if Ingram can stay healthy. He should just sit out longer than he needs to. He's been coming back too
CJ
quickly.
McCollum's been scoring a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ever since he came back, he's been playing nice.
I
Yeah,
mean, DeJounte Murray should, when he kind of gets back in and going, should be pretty solid. But like, then we have the Jazz, the Blazers, which I don't think there's anything on the Blazers either that I want.
Are you talking Klingon? You got
you have Anthony Simons.
Anthony
who's been
Simons,
good. You have
Okay,
Shaedon
Simons would be the only.
Shaedon
Again, I'm not
Sharp,
talking. Yeah,
Klingon.
I mean, but I'm talking about like, I don't know, guys that would win you a podium. You know, 80
Anthony
Sharp.
Simons.
He-
So
and
Simons was actually
Simons,
on a
yeah.
podium team last week, I think, because
Not
Yeah.
Stu Henderson.
Simons is one of
No.
those. Anthony is
Yeah,
one of
that's-
those guys that scores a ton of points and doesn't do a lot else. But he, at like a cap of 25, is capable of hitting 55. And like
Especially
that's
when
actually
there's no
what
one else
happened
out there.
last week because there's just no one there, right?
Yeah.
And so he has that skill set. Like if he ever became a more rounded defensive player and just added the steal or so here and there, he could be a really, really solid Sorare play. And quite honestly, when I'm in that mid-20s range, Jorge, I'm looking at Simons. I'm looking at Sharp. I'm looking at random guys like that could either score 6 or 60 because it's all about the peaks, when it comes right down to it. And if they score 6, then I get them for a lower L10 the next week.
Yeah, it's basically like
And I have
hoarding
to
the guys that
apologize.
you know that can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to apologize. I was shitting on the Nets way too hard because I completely forgot about the Wizards. So that's my bad. The Wizards, I'm putting the Wizards on a pip. All right, they're on my pip because they need a performance improvement plan to get that franchise going. They've made terrible decisions, so that they've been put on pip. They're worse than the Pelicans. At least the Pelicans, it's injuries. I know why they're terrible.
The Wizards aren't even trying.
The Wizards are not trying. Although Alex Zar has been pretty solid for me.
Hey,
But
Like,
when
don't
you
sleep
rely
on Volley.
on Kyle Kuzma, who failed everywhere in his life, and Jordan Poole, who failed everywhere in his life, other than a handful of games, like this is what happens when you build a team around one and done, like one hit wonders from the 80s. This is what happens. Like you can't do that. And so like Alex Sarr, by the end of the season, Jorge, he's at like a 27 cap right now. Fun play.
Yeah.
But he's a guy that's going to score 81 of these weeks because they are going to completely give up, and they can't give up on him because he is the backbone of their franchise. Like they actually need a proper guard to go in there and run it, and they need more of a experienced veteran type guard.
Yeah. Well, another good shout on the Wizards though for that garbage time is what is it, Keyshawn George? I think he's the guy that popped up on the Wizards.
Oh wait, and they also have the other Champagny, don't they?
Oh yeah, Julian Champagny.
Who's been kind of smoking in the last few games.
Yeah. No, you got to wait for him to go back to the bench, kind of fall out of relevance when people forget, and then you grab him up for the end of the year, and you're like, boom, you're in there. Yeah, it's guys like that. I mean, they're there, and like that's the thing now. Like while you're going and scouting the good guys, you kind of keep that eye on the younger guys, and you're like, oh, when given the minutes, who is actually doing something with it? Like Grady Dick, we bring it up all the time. When guys are out, Grady's going to hoop. He's going to go out there. He's going to shoot because it's all he does. But he's going to put up points. He's going to put up 20, 30 points. And then, all right, you're solid because his cap is low. But when everybody's healthy, Grady Dick is useless. Like, the same thing happened to Jordan McCain. It's like one of those things where, like, you got to find the guys that can't, just because they're low cap, just because they're going to get minutes, just because they have 30 minutes, doesn't mean they're going to do anything with the 30 minutes. You got to, like, pay attention to the guys that do, or the guys that, hey, you know what? They came off the bench, they got a little hot, and the coach is like, here's a couple extra minutes. Then you're like, okay, obviously the coach sees something, they're doing something. Like, those are the guys that you really got to start focusing on. And those guys, it's little by little, little market credit, just sneaking them in there, you know?
So, I mean, speaking of Jordan McCain, like, he's the type of guy because
RIP.
76ers suck, right? Like, at some points, like, does Maxey get moved? Like, do they finally give up on Joel Embiid, which should have happened 22 years ago because he just doesn't care?
Who would take Embiid? I mean, I guess that's like
so the thing is, Zach, everyone would because everyone is convinced that they can fix superstars because people are prideful
Yeah.
and relatively stupid and irrational.
Yeah.
Like when you
Everybody
make
thinks they're
emotional
my
business
wife.
decisions,
They
like
could
you
fix
end
them.
up bankrupt. Like so, and this is what teams like the 76ers do. I mean, you don't. They had an okay plan, but you don't build your team on sucking for 10 years to get 3 guys that actually suck. And then when you draft one of them, you draft Ben Simmons first. And as it turns out, guy can't hit an 8-foot jump shot. Like,
Yeah.
don't be like, this is what I'm talking about with bad franchises always being bad. When your scouting is bad, you don't decide to tank for 10 years to get a whole bunch of number 1 picks. And if you
It
can't
works for the
recognize-
Magic.
but the Magic, you know what? They got Eastern Europe. They got Eastern European players. They got guys like Wagner and
Yeah, whatever the Germans.
Wagner, like the law firm of Wagner and Foltz or whatever it is.
I
But
will
they-
say this is why I'm thankful for Leon Rose. He said enough of this shit with the Knicks trade. Like the Knicks trading for the past 20 years was just terrible. And then Phil Jackson came, and that was fucking atrocious. And then he just said enough of this shit. Here's what we're gonna do. We are gonna stockpile the picks. We're gonna be the Thunder, essentially. We're gonna take all the picks back. Then we'll make the moves to improve this team and not try to get the superstar and fix them like, your ex-girlfriend who I can always fix you. Not gonna happen. That's like the Knicks up right there. We could fix them. We could fix them. But no, Leon Rose has been like the second coming for the Knicks, and it's just been amazing what they've done.
And I mean, you look at it now. We talk about the Thunder every week. The Thunder are how to build a franchise. They traded solid players. They traded Westbrook at the right time. They got rid of Paul George. They got rid of a lot of studs. Harden, Durant. They started this rebuild process, and they have been like stockpiling picks. It's not like they don't have any picks coming.
I was about to say
they're loaded.
They haven't stopped. They have never stopped with this. They just were like, you know what? When SGA becomes maybe too expensive for them, they'll move him too. Like they have no attachment to the guys, and I think that's one of the greatest things about the franchise. It's heartbreaking to love them if you really support them, to watch your stars go out the door all the time, but you kind of trust them to bring new guys in and find these guys.
Well, that's what they do. But like what I'm saying is their scouting is so good that they recognized SGA's potential. They saw what he is when he was coming off the bench for the Clippers in his rookie year. And I was shocked because SGA showed flashes that first season of being great and having potential. And Oklahoma City's like, no, we see it. We see it. You can take, whoever they traded, James Harden or whoever it was. Like you can take our old beat up guys that just don't do anything anymore. Like this is how smart front offices work. And like you said, they are not tied to their players. They're not like, well, you know what, LeBron, you've been here for 42 years. Let's give you another $42 million contract because you're a Laker, because we can. Like, that's not how you run a business. Like, you just don't. And teams do this. And I mean, in my favorite sport, in baseball, like they do this all the time. They sign you to 15-year contracts when you're 34, and you're like, huh, we'll see what happens. Like it doesn't make any sense.
Deferral. So baseball has deferral, which is at least something.
Yeah. But when it comes to the NBA, the Thunder are where you want to go. The Boston Celtics are what you want to do. Like you just watch these teams, and we haven't talked a lot about the Celtics because they are one of those teams where I'm not sure they're great. They're not. I don't think that they score great for Sorare. I think that you can have some peak games for Tatum. You can have some peak games for guys like Pritchard, but you don't see, and we talk about this a lot, Jorge. Jaylen Brown doesn't have his peak games of 75 typically, right? Yeah. Porzingis will occasionally hit 50, but you're not getting like huge peak games from these guys because they're actually a team. They are not one player that needs to go nuts like Luka Doncic, like Jokic. Like they're not the entire team. Like every part of the team is just an equal part of that team. I mean, we haven't even talked about Derek White and Drew Holiday and those guys. Like these guys are all-stars. And like this team is so well-rounded that on any given day, they can like a different guy is going to be a stud. This is why I don't really like putting Jason Tatum in my top teams anymore, right? Because there's just too many variables. He is just as likely to score 35 as he is 65. And that's a really hard thing to balance when it comes in there. And so I actually think that the Boston Celtics, Jorge, are one of those teams that we might be able to take advantage of in the new daily format with cash tournaments, because if you hit the guy that blows up in one game, or you hit a guy like Tatum that, if he hits a 35, like, you're not going to do well. But if you play Jaylen Brown, that's his 60 game sort of thing. Like, one of the guys do typically pretty well, but if you know enough about each team, you understand where points can arise. And like, that's kind of what we're driving at here. The Al Horfords, if he plays, the Hausers, like those kind of guys.
No, I guess I never really thought about it that deeply. That like, yeah, I struggle to play Celtics guys a lot. I really do, because it's like you never really know when they're gonna pop off. Because you're right, they move the ball so well that it doesn't matter. They just find the open man and they just chuck threes the entire time, and they don't
Yeah.
have to worry about it. And like, dude, I can guarantee you the Celtics are like playing at like 80%. They're just, dude, they're coasting, they're chilling, and they have so many guys they could rotate every week. So like, in a sense, like, it does benefit having Celtics, because like, hey, if Horford's sitting, then you have somebody on the other side. Oh, Jaylen Brown's sitting. Well, then Tatum's going to do it. If Tatum's sitting, Jaylen Brown's going to do it. And like, you can kind of play around with it, but it's also kind of headaches at the same time.
Yeah.
But they're good to have there. You're right. They're just like, they're all reliable. They're just always there if you need them. And
I don't treat Tatum. I have a Tatum that I use every week, but I don't. When I look at building with Tatum, I don't look at him as the peak guy when I'm putting the lineup together. He's actually my stabilizer. He's my stabilizer. He's the guy that I set in there, and I'm like, he's a 50, and most of the time he's a 50. And sometimes I just need 50, because then like the other pieces I'm trying to put in there should be going well above their cap. So like but he's a stabilizer, and hopefully you get a 65, a 70 now and again. But you're right, the Celtics are probably the most frustrating fantasy team to predict, purely because they're an unselfish, well-disciplined basketball team.
They're a proper basketball. They remind me of
I need more street ball, less discipline. That's what I need.
They remind me of those like Detroit Pistons teams with Chauncey Billups, where no one was a superstar, everyone was just really great.
Balls.
And I mean, this is why Tatum is not an MVP in Sorare. Like, you need the guys like Jokic, where every single play the ball goes through him at all times. It has to touch him. And you need guys like SGA who bring the ball down the court and run everything, that also crash. Like, those are the peak guys that I'm looking for when it comes to this. Giannis can do stuff like that, but I mean, Jorge, you've watched enough Bucks games to know that sometimes Giannis is great. Other times he's just, I don't want to say he's just
yelling at the refs the whole time and not doing anything.
Yeah. I mean, like, if he's missing his foul shots, he's not having a good game. If he's hitting his foul shots, he can score 90, right? And it's really weird when it comes to picking the MVP, because that is really the most important part of what we're doing here. And then you have to build the pieces around. But if your MVP doesn't hit, like last week with Jokic, then you're going to have some issues. I mean, I looked at my Jokic team last week, Jorge.
That's why I did good last week.
I was behind. It was between Jokic and Doncic. And if I played Doncic, I think I would have came in like fourth. Because Doncic scored nuts on one game in the last day, But that's the beauty of Sorare. That's the beauty of the NBA product. Those are two of the guys who I think they're really the two guys that the ball goes through every single time. Wemby is starting to become that, but he's not a guard. Like, he is not an assist machine. Like, that's the big difference.
Yes, Jokic fills up four stats every game. There's four stats that he. Same thing with Luka. He's a 4-stat guy. Same thing with Giannis. He's a 4-stat. Like, he's not the guy that's hitting the triples, but he's the guy that's going to get you the boards, blocks, assists, rebounds. Like, 4-stat guys are very hard to come by. Wemby, I don't know if he'll ever be a 4-stat guy. Like, he's a 3-stat guy, but I don't know if he'll be a 4-stat guy, because like, they just don't play him in a position to be a 4-stat guy. Like, he's usually pretty far away from the rim in general.
Well, if they started playing their game like the Nuggets play and just put the ball through him every single time, he would be. But they don't use him.
Does he have the vision, the same vision as Jokic? Like, Jokic is a different animal of a basketball player.
It takes time, though, right?
Yes, it definitely takes time.
You can't teach him to have the vision if you don't allow him to try to have the vision. And quite honestly, if you're bad enough, and you have, Harrison Barnes drop kicking the ball into the 30th row, like, why not let Wemby try to throw a pass? to somebody cutting from the baseline. Like you have to learn somewhere. So
That's
maybe
that's really
that unlocks in years 3 through 5. Like it takes time to develop in the NBA game.
You see that as they mature, because like they're getting used to it. They're getting their bodies in place. They're figuring out how to do what they need to do. And then the vision and all of those things, the understand, because it's really the understanding of defensive pressures and defensive rotations that are different for every
just letting the game slow down for them, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And so, like right now, I mean,
Alexa, turn off office lamp.
Okay.
Yes. Alexa, turn off Zach's office lamp. But
sorry, I thought I muted.
But when the game slows down, Jorge, like that it gets a lot easier. And you saw this maturation. You see it with Doncic, like as he's come through. You see it with Giannis. You see it with all of these different people. Do you have ghosts, Zach? Because that's
no. Listen, sometimes Alexa, turn on office light.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. See, this is why I don't smart home, man. It don't listen. It just does whatever it wants.
The problem is, I think the lamp is in the wrong group. I have to go back in and edit the lamp. The lamp is in the wrong group.
Man, my lamp is on the wrong network.
Lamp. Just wait for your kid to
listen, I can control any part of my house right now that I want to. I talk from here, and anything that I want to happen happens.
Yeah, the fridge make you a sandwich?
No, but my fridge does have a screen in it, and it does play TV and everything else. I have one of those.
Ooh, Zach is fancy.
I was mobile. I'd take you around.
But your smoke detectors are like 20 years old. Got it. All right, cool.
Priorities. I was looking for smoke detectors that would go to a smart home. Surprisingly enough, they don't really make those. They only make CO detectors, not smoke detectors.
Dear Lord. It still pisses me off to this day that my washing machine connects to Wi-Fi and there's an app for it. Like, why the heck do I need an app for my washing machine? It's God.
Yeah, I hate that too, and so is mine, and it's annoying.
On that note, Jorge, it is time for me to get rolling. So,
yes, real quick though.
Well, real quick, stick
Nick
around.
Has some words for you. That Bob's an underdog. You should flip it around and be on top of the dog, then above dog.
Well, I appreciate
whatever that means.
Wait, Bob, I'm about to rip open this cage. Is it going to be a special or not?
It is not. And I will take a look and read it back, but I do got to run, guys.
All right, Bob. Appreciate you.
Here we
Did you crack? What are you doing? You cracking it?
Cracking it.
No special edition Cade. No Cade.
It's nice having a Cade.
Yeah, I want to. Well, I have a classic Cade, but
still
I love my Cade. Great card. Yeah, dude, that was awesome. That was a great conversation we had. Shout out to everybody who's been in the chat, everybody who's hanging out. It was vibing on this show. We're always sitting here chatting NBA. We were going to talk about all the specials coming up, and then we just started talking about strategy and just other NBA stuff. And
just like, that's how
when the ball,
we try to get up.
When the ball's rolling, the ball's rolling, man.
Yeah.
I do want to mention though, I'm sure Bob will chime in later, but like I was looking, the competitions on Christmas, it's kind of lame. Santa's Helper, like Christmas Day is literally like anticlimactic. So basically, you get a 6th card in your lineup, which is kind of cool, I guess. And the cap is 150 with an MVP. So small slate, small amount of players, you get an extra card.
But all the studs are playing that day. All the studs play that day.
And 30 extra points on the cap after the MVP. So it's going to get a little spicy on Christmas Day, but it's like regular rewards. It's nothing fancy. I almost feel like they should have done this for the first day on the 19th and then done the cash on Christmas Day. Like, isn't that a day you want to be on the couch? You just want to be sweating some silver NBA lineups?
Yeah, I actually thought they did have a small cash pool on Christmas Day.
I did too.
Not. When I went back and read it, I thought it was Christmas had a cash prize.
Yeah, so I thought they were cash, and apparently it's not. Which I think you dropped the ball there a little, Silver. I think you should have done this backwards. The cash should have been on Christmas Day. Although I get it, you want to give everybody a full slate, fair chance.
A small slate. Yeah. The small slate is the problem.
I kind of get it, but it's Christmas Day, man. We're all gonna be sitting on the couch drinking at noon and watching basketball. So like, why not sweat some cash? I'm just saying. But shout out to Alex in the chat.
At least podium some cash or something, top prize cash.
Yeah. So a little anticlimactic there.
Yeah.
Also from the 25th to January 5th, all 10% scoring bonus for special edition cards. Any special edition card, whether it's this Neon Christmas or all the old ones. So
Ooh,
little
which you're
10%
sitting on a few,
bonus.
right? You're
I
sitting
am
on a few.
I am sitting on a whole ton. I got some action shots from year 1. I got a bunch from last year. And then now I have a few this year. So we're doing it. Yo, Boston Sean in the chat too. What is up, dude? Everybody see if you stream long enough, eventually everybody shows up, right? All right. That's what you gotta
They
do.
all make it eventually.
24-hour stream, baby. Another thing I did want to touch on real quick is the actual fun events of this. So it's going to be, what is it? December 21st. Guess what, Zach? Sorare NBA is bringing the threshold. That's right. You heard me. All you football heads, anybody who's been playing on the football side, guess what? Thresholds are back on the NBA streets. That's right. It is called Bounty Hunter. Managers will face off against Sorare itself. The goal, you ask? Hit the target score to claim your share of the bounty. Now, this is very interesting, okay? So we're going to focus on the limited because common, they're just giving away common cards. Lame, no fun. But unlimited, if you score 200 points, you get a 3-star box. We love those. We get those in dailies all the time. If you hit 215 points, you get put into a $5,000 pot. Essentially, I love you guys. You're all great. But don't hit that 215. More cash for me, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
which is cool.
If anybody doesn't know, that pot is split for everybody who hits.
Yes.
You could get $1, you could get 50. It just depends on.
If you hit 215, you get put into a pot of $5,000, and you get a little share of that. And if you score over 275 points, which is hard but not impossible, you get a straight up $150, and that's just unlimited. This is incredible. I hope. Obviously, they can't just give away cash forever. We kind of know what thresholds did on the football side can be a little detrimental, but this is fun, man. Like I'm more excited about this than just like daily cash or the lame Christmas day. This Bounty Hunter, boy. I'm excited.
Also, another caveat to Bounty Hunter is that you're not picking the threshold you want. You're just playing, and if you hit these, you get the prize. So you don't have to make a decision. You just put your best lineup in and go.
Yeah, once you're in,
another version that's even better than the original threshold. You don't have to pick it, or not the original.
Yeah, and you only get one reward, so you don't get all 3. If you hit all 3, you don't go home with the grand prize. No, you just get one. So whatever you hit is what you hit, and like the scores are a little different for the tiers too. I noticed where it's like you need 5 extra points in rare than you do in limited, but limited, you get over that 280. That's $300 in your bag. That is some money, and you're playing against the game. Nobody else. You just got to worry about your lineups and your lineups
versus. Wait, 215 versus what is it in rare?
So in rare, 215 is the bottom.
Yeah, 240 to get to the cash.
Yeah.
So does rare have extra?
215.
Yeah. Does that's 30 or 25?
Yeah, that's a little weird, huh?
Yeah. Do rares have a higher bonus?
Is scarcity bonus still in NBA?
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird that they make it that much higher.
Yeah, that's strange. Oh, we'll have to look in. I honestly don't remember if scarcity bonus is a thing in NBA or not, because they took it out of football, didn't they?
No, it still exists in football.
Doesn't it? That shows how much I pay attention, man. I just like the cards because they're rare and red. Yeah, Mike Bass. Yeah, it's scarcity bonus. So
because it'd be weird to just raise it arbitrarily because it's rare,
higher scarcity. Yeah, that just don't make sense.
We think you should hit 25 more points because you bought red cards.
And it's for in-season cards too, so in-season bonus or whatever, collection scores and whatever. So.
Now, does that also tie in with the bonus for using a special edition card?
No, because the special edition card bonus starts after Christmas, so the day after Christmas. So from Christmas to January, they thought about that one though.
Smart.
We'll get them next time. I'll tell you what.
Smart.
I don't know. Dude, I'm just glad that they're doing a lot of different things. Because the first 2 years, it was a lot of not enough places for me to play, or I have too many cards and nowhere to play them. And now they're just doing all these things. They're throwing cash at us. They're throwing all these different ideas, unique things. And it's been fun. It's engaging. It keeps you going. Obviously, this part of the season starts to kind of just drag on a little bit. It's a little lull the middle of the season, but it's been great.
Yeah, this is probably where I tapped out in years 1 and 2. From just ugh, it's such a drag. But like the daily game has really, I even get on you like in our chat like about giving up on the daily sometimes. I'm like, dude, play the daily.
I haven't played in like 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie. I still haven't played.
Dude, you missed out on essentially ripping 2 cards.
I
by
no,
not doing
I legitimately like, and I noticed it too. Whereas like my essence has like severely stopped climbing, and I'm almost there, man. I'm almost to 400. I'm getting close to that rip.
And you've quit playing daily for 2 weeks. Come on.
Yeah, I just haven't had the motivation, man. Like I just get on there and all my good cards are in pro, and then I get in
Give me
there
your
and there's like
password.
these,
I promise I won't do anything bad, and I'll set your dailies for
and
you.
it's these weird rules and like it's just garbage in my gallery, and I'm just like, this is gross. I don't even want to like ugh. But I do, like, I'm getting close to the rip, so I really need to focus up, and we got time, right? I'll play tonight. I'm gonna podium. My first podium is ever is gonna come from Dailies. Watch, and
From
I'm
the
gonna
cup
win
final.
3 essence, and it's gonna be it's gonna be magical beyond belief. Like
The cup final.
it's
Yeah,
the
so
only one.
let me see what I have. Yeah, so what if I go with something like, let me just see for this one. These are all guys I have. 38, huh? I should probably swap out here.
Oh, you got Kenrich Williams, AJ Green. Kenrich isn't terrible.
No, but now I have a lot of points. Now I have points. Like if I don't play Giannis, let's say. Like if I play Giannis, obviously things get a little dicier. Oops, I took out Shea. So yeah, then I only have 4 points. I can't really make this work.
Oof. All right, we're
Yeah,
gonna
you
build
can't
this right
play.
here.
You can't play the big 3. So I
All right.
think Hardenstein has to be in. And
I'm
then
trying to
let's see
think,
what
what's the cheapest guy that you can probably get away with? Is it Dort?
probably Dort.
Dort's probably like the safest kind of floor that you can play. I mean, unless Brooks shows up for this game, Brooks been kind of on a stinker. Like he kind of popped
Yeah,
off for a little bit and slowed
and
down. But
they're so close in cap that like you're getting a guy that's been playing better versus a guy who's on a down to
yeah.
play the same cap price.
So what is it?
Yeah,
Dort,
probably.
maybe Bobby Portis? Oh, dude, that's
Portis.
gross.
It's either Portis or Hardenstein, because again, these guys are
Dort.
too close in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for Dort, aren't I?
Yeah. I mean, I don't
All
trust
right.
those AJ Mitchell because, like, you got to think like this is a final, so like rotations are going to be very short and sweet. Like, it is going to
Yeah.
be minimal, like 8-man rotations. It's going to be very tight, very competitive. So, like, you really can't dive deep that far. Like, I think trying to squeeze something in is almost going to be detrimental.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Who's gonna go?
I almost go.
Who's gonna be dropped from the squad?
Let me see here. Let me see here. Yo, anybody who else is building for this comment for tonight's slate, let us know, man. If you in the chat, if you building, what are you building? What are you seeing that we're not seeing?
I don't want to get rid of those guys. Tatum's only at 5.5%. I could let Tatum go.
Damn, I'm not gonna be able to fit that either.
All right, I'm dropping Tatum. Now we go back and we build.
I'm almost tempted to play Isaiah Joe, to be honest. I don't like it.
All right, so now let's see, where does this set me at? Then I have to do this. So Shea, Dame, Hardenstein, and Dort. 13. Boy, that hurts. So who's in the 13 range? Let's just see. Andre Jackson and Ajay Mitchell are about the only 2 plays in that. All right, I'm just gonna take Jackson and make this easy on myself.
Oh, not the Andre. Dude, he doesn't do anything.
Dude, I just need him to do.
He literally does nothing.
Listen, man, this like in common, this is just for boxes. Like I'm not a podium and not a podium in common does nothing.
I'm telling you, I'm going for that podium in common.
I mean, go for it. Either way, I'm locked in here. So yes, if you drop Hardenstein and you play Dort and Portis, you'll have.
Am I gonna do it?
So yeah, the play would be. Yeah, what do
My
you got?
question is, how many minutes is Isaiah Joe getting right now? Is the real question. Like, is he actually going to
Look,
crack the rotation?
let me see.
Oh. So this is what I'm cooking up right now. I got Giannis, Brook, Dort, and SGA, and I have 17 left. I don't hate this, especially because there are some players in that 17 range that you could kind of get away with some points
So Joe is averaging 22 minutes a game, just so you know.
every game.
For the season. Yeah, for the season, he averages about 22 minutes a game.
What about like the last 5? Does it show
Last
you?
5.
Can you see?
22, or no, 18, 17, 22, 24, and then he
Yeah,
didn't
so that
play.
20-ish minute range.
Yeah. Yeah, so like 20 minutes is what you're getting from him.
I mean, he scored 35 and 30 in those first 2 of the last 5. Yeah, I think I'm going Isaiah Joe.
Yeah.
Because it's Isaiah Joe, Taurian Prince, which no thank you. I want nothing to do with that.
Yep.
I want
Right.
AJ Green, where he does kind of have it in him sometimes. I'm not banking on the fact that he's going to get hot. Kenrich
Like
Williams, maybe.
is today the day, you know?
Right.
It's the Thunder. Is today the day that AJ Green goes off. That's what you're asking.
Under the big lights, are you actually gonna show up?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, I like that. I like Joe. I mean, I guess in hindsight, maybe I would have went Portis, so I could have fit Joe in
Right.
my squad if I could have made one change. But I had Hartenstein, so it was like I had the guy.
Boom.
Some
We're sending it.
guys. Yeah, there you go. I like it.
Mike Basson, this is your podium day. Is it for my what do I win? What can I win?
How are you looking? How are you looking for the
For a
week?
2-star box?
Like, yeah, I got some cash here. I mean, obviously, I haven't had much go on here, but I got some cash. Like so far for the week. Although look at Cade. Cade showing up already in the rapper. Rapper Cade is what I wanted. And then Maxi going off.
I didn't play Maxi. I didn't feel great about it. I don't know why.
Also, I believe we talked about him in our chat about a play.
Shout out to Keon Ellis. Karis LeVert too. Dude, I didn't put Karis LeVert in a prio, and I'm very mad about it.
He was also
I guess I did kind of put him in prio.
I think he was the best play on top tier this week.
Was he?
Yeah, because he's 22 points over his cap.
Where did I? Let me see. Oh, so I got Karis LeVert, Suggs, and then Mark Williams didn't do much, but I was focusing on this Wizards game. Then SGA, Kevin Durant, and Suggs to play. Ooh, Sabonis, Zubac, De'Aaron Fox. I need this Jeremy Sohan to pop off. I just picked him up.
Okay.
I need that to work.
That's nice right there.
I'm actually kind of cooking this week. Hold on.
You are, yeah. The guy who doesn't know that he wins cards, by the way, everybody, just so we're all aware.
Don't tell everybody. Don't tell everybody. Shh. I didn't find out about my 7th place until I went to open the reward. What are you talking about, dude? I knew about it the whole time. I was sweating those lineups.
Yeah. You got some really solid lineups going right now.
Where'd I put Cade? Oh, dude, this is the one where I got the Cade and the RJ Barrett. Austin Reeves has been kind of okay from injury. Julius Randle's going to be a headache in my back, but that's a revenge game. Revenge game against the Knicks. Yeah, I did a little revenge, baby.
Revenge game with the action shot card.
Yeah, buddy.
So I like it.
Action shot. Julius Randle's ready to go. Yeah, I think that's it. Really, did I do anything else?
Yeah, your in-season stuff though is looking very promising. You got some classic lineups out there that are looking nice. So
yeah, I'm having a little good week. All I needed was a week or two to just kind of refocus, rehash, and kind of just collect myself, and then boom, baby, we've been cooking ever since.
So I think we're going to be shredding Essence next week. Although I don't know if we'll have a show next week. It'll be Christmas time.
Oh yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll sneak one in on Monday. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll wait 2 weeks. And we'll see. Come back from the holiday.
We'll see.
With our
happy holidays to everybody. If we don't see you, happy holidays. Merry Crimbus, all that. all the good stuff. The Hanukkahs, the
So you
Kwanzaa's,
doing
all the
anything
good
on the
ones.
football side right now or no? Like, are you
No,
actively playing anything or no?
not right now, but this week, I think tomorrow we're gonna have a little MLS Rare / Challenger show because throughout the course of the MLS season, I won enough like decent Challenger cards where like I'm semi-competitive in season.
Okay.
So like if I just like get one or two like really smash pieces in Challenger, like I hopefully kind of compete a little bit in Europe. But and then yeah, we're gonna have a Rare show because obviously rares are the place to be in NBA and MLS. Rares are a little quiet. Everyone talks about how bad super rares are and how limited is competitive but fun and the place to be. And everyone just kind of like rare exists, but no one really talks about it or focuses on it. So got to get in there,
Yeah.
fellas
All right,
and
I'll definitely
ladies.
pop in there tomorrow. Yeah, I'll definitely
Oh
pop
yeah,
in and chat.
yeah.
So who's gonna be you, Alex, and Chris, or Chris?
Mike
can be?
Baston, what time? Probably like 6ish. Probably. Chris usually gets off home around 6, and Alex will be there too. So
All
yeah,
right,
typical
nice.
time. I know it's a little later for the European folks, but we've been trying to stay a little consistent around that like 5:30, 6 p.m. mark. It seemed to
Mike, we're
work
bringing you
pretty
on the
well.
NBA show next time.
Yes, Mike. We
You
say
can
it all the
share all
time.
your NBA knowledge with us.
He needs to come on, rip some essence with the boys, and then just kind of hang out and then just make fun of me probably the whole time. Yeah, the usual time. We're here. We're
And
here.
me.
We
And
just,
me.
we
I
just
got a
like
ladder. I got a ladder in the back. I'm talking to my house. You know.
climbing up that ladder board, bro.
Although, so here's something about strategy. So I only have 2 more months of winning cash and putting it back to the NBA. Then from there on out, all the cash is being kept in wallet. So I'm just gonna go through like February, and that's it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you just
because
gonna afford ETH?
I want
Or
to
you soccer?
play. I want to play football. I want to play MLB,
Oh,
and clearly I'm going to supplement the wallet. That's
of
just
course.
goes
Of
without.
course.
That's how this
Who
game
would we
works.
be?
That's how this game
So,
works.
like, oh, I have $9 in my wallet. What if I just bought this $20 card with my credit card? Like, oh, dude, imagine that. Hell yeah, dude. I'd rather do
Wow.
that. Oh,
You
dude,
know,
it's great.
180 does seem like the right price for this card. Hold on a second.
For me to get $20 off with market credits, dude, sign me up, dude. I'm in there.
Dude, I do like that they show you now in the market credits.
What do you mean?
It has all 3 symbols now. Look,
Oh,
they just
yeah.
added this on the last update. It shows
Oh,
you all 3.
interesting.
That means like you're not locked into market credits for any
Wait, really?
one.
Is that
You're not locked into market. Your market credits are not locked into any one game. You can use them across all the games
is
now.
that real?
Yeah, that's real. It's just
Did they announce that?
that. I don't think so, man. I think it just snuck in like on the update.
Oh, mine's separate.
Really?
Yeah, I got mine. Oh, because I think that 3 sport one was the Christmas promo that they ran where they messed it up and gave everybody like 2 cents.
No, because I didn't get that one. But maybe this came out of another
Oh,
box.
maybe.
Yeah, maybe it came out of another box for me.
Yeah, because
I
I
don't
have
know,
my
man.
NBA ones here, and then yeah, I think I'm out of football ones where I have $2,
Oh.
one of the two.
Oh yeah. I didn't realize you had 2 different. Yeah, I just have the triple. I thought they were gonna be cool. I'm like, just use your market credits. Just use them.
I don't necessarily think that's a bad idea.
Me neither, because you know what? They still get you to spend money.
I wouldn't quite do that yet, Mike. No, but yeah, if like doesn't So Rare want everybody to play all 3 sports and then give you like obviously you're going to spend money, so whatever you need, you're more likely to spend it on what you need than I have these credits on baseball, but I don't need baseball cards, so it just sits there.
Yeah.
Or would they rather
Like
you
for
just
me,
get to spend it on whatever you want?
Bob hates the market credit box. When I see the market credit box, I immediately go scouting for the guy that I'm going to get with the market credit instantly. I'm like, all right, let me go to the old scout and see who I'm going to buy. So
Especially
yeah,
when I need a new L20 guy every week because they just keep popping off. Like I'm just such a good scout that their freaking caps keep rising. What am I gonna do, man?
Pick the right guy every time.
God, unbelievable.
Yeah. But all right, that's probably it for tonight. I
Yes,
think
sir. Yes, sir.
we've covered everything involving the NBA this
My
week.
throat's dry. I'm hungry, and I need a nap. Yo,
And me,
shout
I
out
get
to
ready for this
everybody
game.
who was hanging out in the chat. The chat was kind of popping today, dude. It was nice, you know. I tried to
Yeah.
get y'all in here whenever there was a gap between everybody talking. They're just so good at it. Ooh, that's a good one. I wonder if they run them as separate businesses. You know what, Boston Sean? That's a good question. That is, I would be really intrigued. I would be really intrigued to know that. Actually, good shout on that. I'm gonna lose sleep over that tonight. Thanks, Sean. Yo, but for real, shout out to everybody who's hanging out in the chat, everybody who's watching, everybody who watches this after. We love you too. Obviously, we want to hang out with you in the chat, but trust me, I look at those numbers, I see who's going, and there's a consistent bunch of you, and I appreciate you for that. It's the holidays. Tell someone you love that you love them. You know what? Give them a call. Give them a call. Do something nice for somebody because the world will be a better place for it. Zach, this is incredible. We'll see y'all tomorrow for some football. And who knows? Maybe some other shenanigans along. Oh, actually, we do got something for you guys cooking too. Especially you football bros. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah, I got to respond to a few emails, but we'll see. Good luck, everybody. We'll see you again this week. If we don't see you next